one of the pillars of working towards a financial plan, being successful in your financial goals, is knowing where you want to be. And we always talk about the big vision. What is it that you want? And oftentimes we create our plans every year and our goals of what we want to do at work and how much money we want to make. But what is that towards? Where is that going? What is the number that we need to end up where we want to end up? Everybody's plans are different. I know for me, I want to be able to enjoy my grandkids. So my plan is to retire at a pretty early age. In order for me to do that, I need to know how much income I need at the date that I retire so that I know how much money to work towards that I have invested in retirements. So understanding where you want to be and how much money it's going to be to sustain the lifestyle is really important in your financial planning. You can go through the six steps process where it's 6 steps of creating your financial budget, paying off your debts, fully investing in your 401k, investing in the stock market without a financial planner, and then when you have enough money, meeting with the financial planner, CPA, and then maybe paying off your mortgage at some point, depending on what your goals are. If you go through all of that, you need to know what it is, the number when you retire that it is that you're working towards. You know, if you're somebody that is W-2'd like I am and you don't have a pension, then you are having to invest in something in order to have income when you retire. Unless your intention is to retire at 67 and hope that there's Social Security, then you really need to be focused on how much income am I going to need at the age that I want to retire? How much money do I have to have invested and in what in order to get that return on the income that I'm going to need annually to continue the lifestyle that I want at retirement? So you need to know what your number is. So we're going to go through and look at how to determine how much money you need to retire. This is a basic step process just to get you into a position of looking at what you need and what you need to be focusing on now in order to be in a good position. I'll tell you, I have clients that I meet with every single week. I have so many clients that are, older, they've retired, they're on Social Security. I have clients that are families moving in with each other because they're all on limited income Social Security. Might have 3 families that are buying a home together because they can't afford rent. And they're trying to at least have a communal property where they can afford a fixed payment moving forward because retirement has not sustained them. And every single time they say, I just didn't know. I didn't know that this is what it was going to look like. I didn't plan. I didn't have the resources. I didn't have the education. I wasn't aware. So my intention today is to provide enough information that you are aware, that you have the information, and that you have the resources to be able to prepare and work towards what you want retirement to look like. So we look at, society's conditioning. You go to school, you take out debt, someone along the way, you might be able to save some money to retire by the age of 65, 70. What's really sad is that the economy is built on debt. Everywhere you go, they want you to spend. All of the marketing, advertising is built on you buying. So we're conditioned to buy, to spend, to have debt, and you don't even realize what you're doing until you're in a position that you're stuck. And so really understanding what you're working towards in life is going to help you to see it more clearly, and you're even going to get frustrated. I know when I started seeing, I was super frustrated at the marketing that's allowed in our society, in every fashion. It's all built towards creating more debt and making you feel like you have to buy something to be happy, which is not true. So we're going to look at what is that retirement number, because it's not an age, it's a number. We need to figure out what it is that you need to make in order to be successful based on when you want to retire. And you're going to have to make an abrupt change now in order to start moving towards what that would look like. So we're going to look at what's called the FIRE principle. How much money do you need? What is your number for you to be financially independent and retire early? So your number, which is FIRE, is the number that you need to work towards to make sure that you have enough money to live when you retire. So basic formula for the FIRE is that you take whatever your monthly living cost will be times 12, you divide that by 4%, and that's the number that you need invested in order for you to have enough income. So if you don't have a pension, this is how much money you're going to need in order for you to retire, meaning that you're going to be able to live off your assets in order to retire with income. And so as you can see here, if you need $3,500 a month and you times that by 12, that's $42,000 a year in income. You divide that by 4%, that means you need over $1 million in assets for you to be able to have $3,500 a month income at a 4% rate of return. So when you start looking at these numbers and you start looking at what your spending habits are, what you have set aside for retirement, and you start thinking, wow, I don't have that much money, that means that you're relying on Social Security if you've been paying into Social Security. That means that whenever Social Security and whatever it is at the time decides to pay you is what you're going to have to manage your life on. So they're going to be the ones to dictate what your life looks like if you don't take control over you getting additional money for you to be able to sustain when you want to retire and how much money you want. So this just kind of shows you, and you can go to Social Security website and they actually have a whole PDF where you can get all of this information on retirement planning. And it's very complicated process that you go through as you get there. So you definitely want to make sure to start researching some of that. But these are the different things. It just shows you, when you can start taking money out for retirement, depending on if it's a 401k, if it's a non-tax, like a pre-tax or after-tax account investment for retirement. 62 is the earliest that you can collect Social Security, and then they have kind of a step up where if you wait longer, you can get a greater amount of Social Security. So if you delay it and you don't collect it until a later age, then you can start getting, or you'll get more income when you start taking it out. But I think it's really important for us to look at Social Security because most people don't realize what that even looks like. And all the people that I come across that are on Social Security, a good portion are shocked by the numbers. So you'll want to look and see, you can actually log into Social Security online and it'll show you on the Social Security what amount that you will qualify for. So Social Security is based on how much you've paid into it, how much money you've made, and then the benefit that you're going to get depending on when you start taking it. So you can plug in some calculations. I highly encourage you to do it if this has been your plan for retirement so that you can course correct where you're going to end up. But you plug in your information, it'll tell you based on your income now, and if you continue that income, how much you're going to get in Social Security benefits when you do retire, depending on the age that you plan to take that retirement. So you're going to go on their website, check it out. If you look here, someone who averages $100,000 salary throughout the career, Social Security will probably provide about $27.90 a month if they wait to claim until the full retirement age. So if you see here, if you were, born between 1960 or later, full retirement age is 67. So if you wait until you're 67 years old and you made over $100,000 and you didn't invest into anything else, $27.90 based on this calculation is your monthly income. So let me ask you this. Could you live off $27.90 a month for how you desire your retirement to look like? And that's with you making $100,000 now. So imagine making $100,000 now going to only $27.90 a month. And that's at the age of 67. What happens if you can't make it to the age of 67 and you have to take it sooner and you make even less income? That's where it comes into strategy planning for retirement. What's going to be that gap? Where is it going to be that you can take from? Either if you decide to retire at 60, for that 7 years before you collect Social Security, if you're trying to take more, what's going to sustain your income? That's where the retirement planning, 401k, investments, all of that comes into play, is you can either use it for a bridge, meaning that when you do retire until you can collect Social Security, and or a gap, meaning that you use it as additional income to offset how much income that you're going to want to be able to have in retirement. So it's really important to understand these numbers. I find most people don't even think about this until they're too late. And so that's why, again, it's important to make sure that we're looking at all of this information so that you have the right tools and resources. Now, we talk about compound interest and why it's so important. If you look at this schedule here and you see compound interest calculator on the first one here. So let's say that you're not receiving any rate of return and you said, I have $50,000, I'm going to start investing today. And I'm going to start putting, $2,150 away every month. And in 39 years, you'd have over that $1 million. So we just talked about you're going to need over $1 million in order for you to have $3,500 in monthly income. So if you were to start saving now, it would take you 39 years saving $21.90 a month if you had $50,000 to invest and then start adding to every single month right now. Now, the power of compound interest, as you can see, is on the second one here. If you had $50,000 to invest right now, and you invested $2,125 a month going forward, it would now only take you under 20 years for you to, at a 6% average rate of return, for you to get to that over $1 million mark that you want to have, the over $3,500 monthly income. So if you start today and you invest the money, same terms, it would only take you 20 years versus 39 because of the compound interest. And that's why starting sooner versus later has a huge effect, because if you look at the next number here, if you had the $50,000 and invested it, and you only invested $750 a month instead of the $2,125 on a 6% rate of return, 30 years, you would have that $1 million. So it's really important to understand that compound interest means the sooner that you can invest, the longer time you have in order to get the return that you're wanting. What makes it very challenging is a lot of my clients that I'll meet with are 30, 40 years old and haven't invested at all. So now you're going to have to, if you're wanting to retire at 60 and you're 30, that's 30 years that you have to create a very aggressive plan for you to start investing so that you can have funds to be able to retire and live the retirement that you plan to live long term. So understanding compound interest is going to be super, super important to your success and to where you're going to be in determining how much money you need for retirement and by getting to that number of retirement. You need to be evaluating this every year, see where your net worth is and how far you are from accomplishing your goal, and maybe readjust. Maybe you need to invest more so that you can get to that number quicker. And if you're young and you have more flexibility and maybe you don't have kids, maybe you have additional hours that you work. You have a second job to start building that number quicker now so that you're on track to be able to get to that retirement plan that you have for what you're trying to accomplish. Knowing how much you need to retire and working towards that plan is the biggest action that you can take towards being able to retire financially secure and not have stress throughout your life of what you're going to do when you do retire.